It is a Monday, as I said. Welcome to it. Lots going on today. Should you happen to spot any federal politicians in town, that's because they're here at a political liberal retreat.
Very necessary.
How do you call the Queen Elizabeth a liberal retreat? I'm not sure. It's not like being in the country somewhere. They're downtown at the corner of René Lévesque and whatever it is.
Yeah.
Metcalf. Vassy Kapelos, and we are big fans, by the way, of
we
this
are.
show.
We
is
should
in
have told
town.
you
Welcome.
that.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks.
So you're in town ostensibly for this liberal retreat.
Yes.
You're covering this thing. How long does this thing last?
It lasts until tomorrow night.
That's it?
Yeah, it's 3 days.
like a
It
long
started last
weekend.
night. Yeah, it's like a 3-day retreat in advance of their return to the House of Commons
Okay.
next week. They do it in the summer. They do it in the winter once.
So in the limited time that it's been here, this is only day 2, I guess, there have been a flurry, a bevy, as they say, of announcements, right? It's been one after another. Surprising, I guess.
Yeah, which is exactly the opposite of the conversation we would have had after the last cabinet retreat wrapped, in which they announced nothing and were criticized heavily
Right.
for doing so. It appears that they have entirely internalized that criticism, and all these months later decided at the outset of this retreat that they would not be subject to the same criticism. And so yesterday it was an announcement on auto thefts. There's going to be a summit coming up, which is of course very relevant to a lot of people in electorally significant areas for the Liberals, cities and suburbs. And then today, this morning, a big announcement from the federal immigration minister, Mark Miller, around capping the number of international students. It'll be a pretty substantial reduction, more than 35%, hundreds of thousands, basically, of a reduction in international students in the coming 2 years.
Now, you're going to be speaking to him a little later today. Yes. Here in Quebec, as you can imagine, we're particularly curious about how this is going to impact our already kind of precarious situation with the tuition hikes for out-of-province and out-of-country students. So what do you anticipate him having to say about that?
Yeah, it's such a complicating factor here in Quebec. It's a little bit more multidimensional than in other provinces, which will also be really kind of trying to grapple with what this means to the bottom line for colleges and universities. Because what's happened over the last number of years, kind of writ large across the country, is while provinces have taken a lesser role in funding those post-secondary institutions, international students have filled the gap. And so they constitute a ton of revenue. Obviously, the calculation here in Quebec with language and with French ended up being a bit different because there were already efforts underway to limit the number of those students through a rise in tuition. Basically, the calculation will be, it depends how big your population is. That's how the cap will kind of be distributed. The only example provided by Minister Miller today was that it would result in, for example, a 50% cut in Ontario. He didn't have the specifics elsewhere, but I know that all the reporters are there kind of crunching the numbers.
Based on population size, right? The bigger your population, the more the cuts are going to be.
Exactly. So that would lead me to believe Quebec would not be small, but it likely maybe won't be as big as
BC
Ontario.
or Ontario.
Correct.
So I wanted to ask one important question, Natasha, before we go on to the unimportant stuff. Was there anything announced today on pizza ovens or bagel ovens at the Liberal
This is a big concern for Montrealers, as you can
I did not hear anything yet, but the day is not done, so I can't say with any certainty that it won't happen.
Did you hear Pierre Poilievre react to this today?
Not today, but I heard because he was on while I was doing my show. But I know I saw him respond to it on Twitter. Yes.
Okay, I think we have. I'm not sure if we have audio of this. I think we actually do. So this is Pierre Poilievre. Of course, this is the big issue of the pizza and bagel ovens. He said this, Brian.
Before I get started, I want to talk about the terrible existential crisis to the entire universe, which of course is pizza ovens. I know that Prime Minister Trudeau and his federal agency have launched an outright crusade against pizza ovens.
Thank you, sir. All right, good.
In Montreal.
So there you go. And he's worried now that, of course, this will spread across the country. He's warning people in BC, where he is right now, that the pizza oven issue may become central to the next, I guess, election. Look, I'm not going to ask you for an opinion on Pierre Poilievre. You're a journalist. I'm just curious. Is it normal? Is it normal that in the midst of a retreat like this, the opposition would already trying to score points?
It's normal, yes, but I'm not sure if they're as punctuated in their efforts as Pierre Poilievre is. Yeah, it's totally normal to go to these and the opposition respond. I think the interesting part is that Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives have largely been at the front of driving the agenda around housing, right? Their criticism has really resonated with Canadians, and it appears for a number of months, almost culminating in this retreat, that the government is kind of forced to respond to that criticism. Now, that's not to say that they're not doing anything or that their announcements aren't of substance, but essentially from like a narrative point of view, the federal Liberals at this retreat are focused entirely on what Pierre Poilievre 6 months ago was saying they should be focused on. So it gives him a little bit of, I guess, impetus to criticize them. At the same time, the Liberals are able to say we're in government, we're making decisions. Sure. So we'll see.
And of course, dealing with that whole thing when that story came out that they were warned about this 2 years ago, as far as, right? So that's in the
I'll be asking the minister about that tonight. Don't worry.
Okay.
We are both big fans of yours. And I know right before we started, we were razzing you about stealing our guests sometimes. But listen, you do such an excellent job. But my question is, because you do so much, right? And on top of it, you're a mom and you're traveling. And I marvel at your ability to seemingly anyway, do this all so gracefully. Is there a secret? How do you manage to do it?
It's all a facade. There's nothing graceful about anything behind the scenes.
I swear, I thought she was going to ask you to babysit her daughter there for a second.
I'd love to. Why not? Yeah. No, I was saying earlier when we were talking that I sort of live life on the edge of failure. At least that's how it feels all the time. But I mean, I'm just lucky because on both ends, I have so many great people I work with here on the radio show, but also on the TV shows who do all the heavy lifting behind the scenes. I just get to have the glory and the criticism after that, but they do so much. And then at home, I would not be able to do any of this without my husband, who does more than his share of the heavy lifting there as well. So it's not really anything that I'm doing. It's all the people that kind of are behind.
Can I be
I'm only
nosy?
half buying that, by the way.
I mean it. Yeah.
Can I just be nosy? And if it's inappropriate, just tell me. Is your husband in the business?
He is.
He is?
He is.
Okay.
He actually, I don't know. I think I can say he works for He actually used to work for CTV for 20 years, local CTV. He's behind the scenes. He's an editor, and he works for Global National doing that for the last 10 years.
So he knows what it's like for you to do your job.
He does. Yeah, it's like an equally inflexible schedule. So we're not great at doing everything, but he certainly takes all the hits to his own schedule and all that kind of stuff. When, for example, last week my kid was sick for the whole week. So.
Okay. How many children do you have?
So I have 2 stepkids.
What are their names?
Emily and Cooper. Thank you for asking. You're so sweet. And Emily actually goes to Concordia here.
I asked for the wrong reason. I asked just to see if you remembered what their names were because you're working all the time. So
How tired are
I
you?
mixed them up. And then I have my own son who's 2.5, and his name is Nicholas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tough gig. Listen.
And your daughter, so your stepdaughter goes to Concordia.
She does,
So
yeah.
you said you're in Montreal fairly often. So it's not like you're
No, I love
here on
Montreal.
business, but okay.
Yeah, here for work this time, but I actually squeeze in a visit with her. And yeah, we're here all the time to visit her because it's her first year and she was only 17 when she started. So we missed her a lot. Yeah.
So we, first of all, you're going to be here today and tomorrow. You're back here tomorrow?
Yeah, sure will
Come
be.
say hi when you're back if you're not too busy. And we love having you here. And yes, we're both big fans. So have fun. Enjoy if you can, enjoy this Liberal retreat for the next day or so.
And if you could indulge me, I'm also huge fans of both yours. So thank you for having me here. It's a real honor.
You're very kind. You know where you are, right? You know you're
Where am I again?
CJAD, Montreal.
Oh,
okay,
shoot!
I know you say that everywhere you go. I know, I get it.
Is she accusing her of being Madonna?
Like a rock
Hello,
star.
Boston.
It's the same
What's
thing.
poutine? Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks, guys.
And
Appreciate
we hope to
it.
see you tomorrow, too.
You bet.
All right.